Hello, good evening. Welcome to episode 46 of The Home Front. Tonight I'm going to continue what I started last night because there are so many tips out there. I wanted to make sure that I get all of them out there for you guys, so it may be 2 or 3 days worth of tips on investing. Hey, Michael Smith, thanks for joining. Henry Rogers, make sure you guys say something so that way I can give you a hello or a shout out. Hit that like button, love button, and share this. Be sure to share this out. Make sure you are not selfish with the information. Hey, DJ, what's going on? Thanks for jumping on here this evening. Salvador, how are you? Awesome. Thank you for the likes and the loves. Much appreciated. So last night we talked about some of the basics that as an investor you should know. So tonight we're going to continue that topic, and I'm going to start with your first tip for the evening. Avoid penny pinching and the scarcity mentality. It says definitely set a realistic budget and add to it every chance you get. Outsource as much as possible to maximize your time and always shoot for a high return on your investment. But please don't ever expect something for nothing. Basically, that means know what your budget is. Don't try penny pinching to save money because you get what you pay for. If you don't know how to do something that you don't want to try and do it yourself and then mess it up and you end up spending more money to pay to get it fixed. I've done that myself a time or two, not in the house flipping industry, but it doesn't turn out well. If it's something that you really need an expert for, I recommend you get an expert for it. Tip number 2, when you pull comps, think in terms of apples to apples. If the subject property was not available, would a buyer realistically consider purchasing the comps instead? And I really caution you to be careful with this, because just because a house looks the same on the outside does not mean it is comparable. You've got to look at all the features. You've got to look inside and really find houses that are truly comparable and make additions or subtractions for what those houses may or may not have. Just because houses are in the same neighborhood does not mean they're comparable. In particular, I've mentioned this before, but there's a few neighborhoods that have 5,000 square foot houses, that have townhouses, that have 2,000 square foot houses. You really have to know your neighborhoods, know what you're looking at, and know how to compare the houses. This says if the subject, I read that to you already. My bad. But again, if you don't know how to do that, get a realtor. You need to, when you're investing, you're talking about a lot of money, and unless you're just, you're not really concerned about losing a bunch of money, definitely get with someone who knows what they're doing, who knows how to do comps, who knows how to flip and price properties properly. Hey, Kevin, thank you for joining. Choose one investing strategy and master it before moving on to another one. This one is a really good one because when people get into investing, a lot of times they think they have a lot of different approaches. You can be a house rehabber. You can buy and hold. You can look at multifamilies. There are a lot of different approaches. So I would say do your research, try to figure out what your goals are and which one is going to work best for you. They say it's really easy to get distracted by this shiny object syndrome and lose your focus. So don't be tempted to dabble in a whole bunch of different strategies. Basically, just know what you're doing, know what your goal is. If you want to make a large sum of money, maybe flipping would be the best avenue. If you want to make residual income without doing anything, maybe buying and holding with the rentals. But you also have to know the pros and cons of each and which may work best. Flipping is not as easy as it seems. There are a lot of details involved, and again, that could end up costing you a lot of money. You could end up breaking even and a lot of wasted time. So be sure to know which strategy would work best for you before you get into it. I think we talked about not getting emotional. Setting actionable goals and activities. How many offers will I make each day, week, month? A lot of investors that I've worked with, they'll just write a bunch of offers, not necessarily thinking that they may get any, but they want to write a bunch of offers to see, because you're going in tremendously low a lot of times if it's a property that's on the market. So a lot of those are not going to go through because they are looking for close to market price, which is where they priced it. And as I've said before, the rule of thumb, which is not necessarily where you're going to start, is the 70% rule. You don't want to pay more than 70% of the ARV, which is your after rehab value. But when you're actually determining numbers, you have to determine what's going to work for that property based on the comps and the work that needs to be done. So a lot of flippers that are in it, or wholesalers even, they deal in very high quantity, very high numbers. They write a lot of offers. So do something that's going to be reasonable for your strategy. And as I mentioned last night, don't write an offer that you can't follow through on. So if you're going to put that many offers out there, be sure that you can follow through on all of them if they go through, because you don't want to tarnish your reputation. It says, do not start out investing with a plan you constructed on your own. This includes deciding what, when, why, how to buy for your first investment property. It's not that you don't know the answers, it's just that you don't know all of the questions, which is very true. If this is your first property, there are a lot of things you don't know and you don't even know what to ask. So that's why I say work with someone, do your research, be prepared, be fully prepared to jump in, or have someone at least that you can consult with, because it's much safer with this amount of money involved, unless, like I said, you just have money to blow and it doesn't matter if you lose it. This one tells you read a book a month, then reach out to the author. That's actually a good idea. I mean, if you're taking your time and you're trying to not go after the gurus. Reading, I always read anyway. It's just not about one subject. I read about a lot of different things. But I say get educated. The bookstore, the library, those are free resources for you, or they're at least less expensive than paying thousands of dollars for a guru. So I encourage everybody to read a book a month. And obviously that author is going to be able to answer a lot of the questions that you may have. This one says focus on cash flow. It says this is a golden source of income that will drive the value of every other aspect of your real estate business. Very, very true. If you're looking to buy and hold a property and rent it out, you are going to want to focus on cash flow. You're going to want to know how much you're going to make a month if that property, how much it will rent out for. So focus on how much that's going to bring you every month over and above what the mortgage is if you have one, because that's going to, every month it'll come in and it's guaranteed money. At least it is while it's not vacant if you're renting it out. Focus on finding the best deal. No, I don't like that. And it says don't worry about the money. I always say you need to do your diligence before you jump in on it. But this one says focus on finding the best deal before the money. Well, they say this, and I don't necessarily agree. I'm a planner. I like to have my money in place, or at least the plan in place. But this says focus on finding the best deal before the money to fund it. Investors invest in deals, not talk and marketing. That is very true. But at the same time, they want to know numbers before they're going to invest anything. And if you have, at least you have the idea, you have the plan in place, you know what you're looking for, so you are going to look for the deal. But have something, because you have to make a quick move when you're investing, so you need to have an idea of where you're going to go. So yeah, maybe you don't have the money secured. When we did our first deal, we didn't have the money secured, but I knew exactly who I could go to and how much it was going to cost me in that process. I think my cat just fell. She seems to be all right, though, but she did just take a dive off the couch. But no, you at least need to know where you're going to get that money from and know how it's going to work. If you're dealing in hard money, what you do is you get the deal, you write the numbers up, and before I even wrote the contract, I talked to them and made sure that they agreed with my numbers, because this was the first one. So I ran all the numbers, did all the comps, explained to them how it was going to work, and they said, good, looks good to me. They ran their own numbers, and then they wrote me a letter to back up, because you need a letter that goes with your offer so that the seller will know that you're serious. Let's see. And I think I'll do one more. This one suggests getting your real estate license. It says, as a real estate investor, I couldn't imagine trying to work with the local distressed property market without a real estate license. and being limited to by another real estate agent skills if you need them. And that is very true. And I'm going to say, not all real estate agents know what a good deal is, unless they work with investors specifically. And they may not know what your version of a good deal is, because everybody may have different goals. And your numbers are different if you're working with hard money versus working with cash. I mean, it's going to just depend on what your money looks like as to what your limits are in the scope of that deal. So if you don't get your real estate license, at least work with an investor work with a real estate agent that knows how to work with investors, because again, it's not everyone's niche. So hope that was helpful for this evening. I appreciate you guys joining me and engaging, and thank you something. I come to you guys every evening, bring you a little bit of information about real estate or real estate investing. Any topics you'd like to hear or know more about, I'm open to that. Please just let me know. I'm on Snapchat, Instagram, obviously Facebook. I'm still working on some of the other topics that people wanted to know, because I am not the expert in everything real estate. I am the expert in some things real estate. So any topic or questions that you have I don't know the answer to, I will definitely reach out to someone and get them on the show for you so we can get those questions answered. But again, I appreciate you guys joining me and spending the time with me in the evening to be educated on real estate. Thank you. And here, look, my dog's saying hi again. Back up. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and thanks again.